Now moving over to our next discussion, a very, very dynamic, vibrant discussion which is there all over right now. The topic right now is sustainability and circularity and innovations in circularity. For this, I would like to invite Mr. Shishir Joshi. Mr. Shishir Joshi is going to be moderating this panel. He's the founder and please, Shishir. He's the founder and CEO of Project Mumbai. Project Mumbai has touched about 1.7 crore citizens, and that's about 8,000 people every day. Project Mumbai focuses on making Mumbai a better place to live, work and play through citizen empowerment and involvement, creating social transformation through initiatives of scale. Mr. Shishir Joshi in 2018 led Project Mumbai and launched India's most successful citizen-led plastic waste circular economy model. Welcome so much, Mr. Shishir. Dr. Modak is the Managing Director of the EMC. Welcome, Dr. Modak. He's a leading environmental engineer and policy expert with degrees from IIT Mumbai and AIT Bangkok. He's spent decades at IIT Mumbai and has founded eConnect Knowledge Foundation. He's a huge authority on environmental policy and circular economy, and he's contributed to numerous publications. We're working with him on a project, and every day is immense learning with him. Our next guest for this panel is Dr. Indu Rani Chakar. She is the Commissioner of the KDMC, the Kalyan Dombivli Municipal Corporation, and she has very kindly created time for this event and panel discussion. A very warm welcome, madam. Her leadership in urban governance, smart city initiatives, and public infrastructure drives sustainable growth. Our next guest, this is a very, very vibrant panel, ladies and gentlemen. Our next guest for this panel is Dr. Dhanashree Hardas, Chairperson, Women Entrepreneurs Committee, MACCIA Maharashtra. A very warm welcome to you. MACCI, ladies and gentlemen, stands for Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Agriculture, for those who are not aware. Dr. Hardas has a PhD in botany and she's an influential leader in environmental and social sectors. She champions women's entrepreneurship and sustainable development through various roles. And she's led various initiatives on water sanitation, green campuses, and cultural awareness. Welcome, Dr. Hardas. We then welcome Ms. Karen Scheller, the MD of EdoPro. She's the Chief Impact Officer at EdoPro. She's a social entrepreneur, empowering women and sustainable enterprises. She has about 20 plus years experience in IT, education and development, and she advocates for impact through her work and writing, including her column, An Empowered World. And then we have Mr. Anand Chordia for this panel. He is the Director, Technology and Innovations, Sohana, and the founder of the Eco Foundation Factory. Mr. Anand is a visionary leader in food technology and sustainability, and the Eco Factory Foundation is championing environmental conservation and sustainable living.
Devyani mentioned that it's a very dynamic panel. I'd say that it's also a very huge panel. And also a huge panel with very little time. So I think when we are talking about innovation, one of the requests that I'm going to have is how innovative can we be in saying something very critical in the shortest possible time. Okay, so that's very, very important. So my request to all of us would be, and it's a session after lunch, so can we be innovative enough to keep everybody awake and for them to go back with some good ideas. So rather than talking about our organizations, respective organizations, which a lot of people know about, can we start picking on what is the next best thing we can look forward to from an implementation point of view? And I'm going to quickly move from one to the other, respecting time. Dr. Modak, you've been part of policy making at certain levels. Your organization even is designed, bringing in all the cosmic elements. The logo has been there. So, the microphone is with you. Yeah. So, what are the policies you feel, and we have a bureaucrat here and we're going to come back to her after that as well, that what are the policies you feel, lovely policies, but I wish they were better implemented, because you've seen the world from a very different point.
So I think we have great policies. We are really good at that. And if you really look at the policy framework, the government of India is having today on circularity and promoting innovation, it's the theme. I think we are doing great. The challenge is that the understanding of circularity today in our country is synonymous to only recycling. And the canvas is much larger than recycling. If you look at the global statistics on circularity, it's only 8 to 9% circular. So that's a huge opportunity, because circularity gives so much of a challenge that innovations is a sequel to that. Now nurturing those innovations and giving them the right finance and policy push becomes an implementation element. And I am finding more and more, when I look at the Startup India programs and in AIMs and AICs, there are lots of entrepreneurs now in circular innovations. So my summary will be, policies are great, push is happening, but there's a huge area of capacity building to understand the spirit of circularity. And I think that's where we have to focus more attention. So last one sentence, that when we talk in our context, the term circularity, it has to be inclusive circularity. I think what I get excited always when I come and been interacting with TISE, and there are so many such organizations, that you're involving livelihood creation while achieving circularity. I think that inclusiveness is critical. What we last point is, I think we need good metrics to see the impact of circularity, because that's something important which can really enthuse people who are interested to move towards sustainability. So I think we're really good in terms of framing the policies, institutions. We need more capacity, more better understanding, and let's also push the startup community and think inclusive.
So, whenever we talk about, and you mentioned implementation, always fingers do get pointed to the bureaucracy, and I'm not going to come to you right now, I'll talk to the others for a moment, because you also spoke about capacity building, because somewhere what are citizens doing? And I know the previous session we had, Megha gave the example of Dubai at some level, and how citizens are playing an important role. Somewhere citizens need to play an important role as well. And I'm going to come to Dhanashree and Karen, both of you all, because somewhere both of you lead institutions where citizens are part of it in some way or the other. So Karen, starting with you, if you don't mind, how can you look at innovative ideas to get people involved?
So I think first and foremost it is to understand the difference between what is circularity and eco-friendly. Okay, as Mr. Modak just said, there's a huge amount of opportunity in circularity which is not being understood because the word circularity itself is not understood. It is being mixed up with being eco-friendly. So you can be eco-friendly but not necessarily circular. Right? So understanding that there is an opportunity in the entire manufacturing cycle, production cycle, delivery cycle, service cycle, every cycle that is there is an opportunity for circularity. So if you look at that whole cycle of what you're doing, you automatically get that opportunity. Now why is citizenship so important in this? Is because it is consumer demand, it is people participation that will change the kind of requirement from the demand side, which will influence the supply side. Until people stop asking for the cheapest possible thing, the easiest possible thing, okay, and start understanding the price we are paying for having this, it's not going to change. So citizen participation, citizen understanding. So one quick, because you said make it interactive, so I'm going to do this. How many of you know the R's of circularity? How many R's of circularity do you all know? How many? Just give me a number.
About 10 years.
3. Shouldn't give it away like that. Okay, so we said 3. Anybody else got any other number? Okay, Devyani cheated and said 10. There are 10. So I'm just going to quickly give you homework. Okay, most of us know about reduce, reuse and recycle, right? There are 10. Please go home and study that. Okay, homework for everybody. There you go.
Thanks, Karen. Yes, some homework. Don't go now. Okay, sit through now at this point. Okay, Dhanashree, there is, when we talk about public-private people partnership, okay, that's also very critical. Now we're talking about the private side came in, citizens. Now, when you say public, well, state is there. Within the private, there's also the corporate world that needs, industry bodies need to play a role in trying to enable some decisions also. How do you see that kind of a role? Is there some kind of decision making that's lacking at that stage where you come from?
All right, thank you for the question. It's very important to think about this on these lines. I'll give you one example of Maha Kumbh and the Sinhastha Kumbh that is coming up here in Nasik in 2027, because I have been closely working for Green Kumbhas for 2025, so for 2015 in Nasik. Here we also tried to extract having public PPP, all the partnerships, and it really worked well. In Mahakumbh this time, there were multiple initiatives which were just not taken by the government, but people were involved as well as the corporate. Without corporate support, it was not possible for the Kumbh to happen. Now this is one example wherein a complete city has been built up. So many innovations can take place. There are multiple things that are happening. It is just not the place or the akhadas that have been built up, but since then sanitation is one of the major challenges which is taken care very well. Here in Mahakumbh at Prayagraj, there were 25,000 bio-toilets been installed at different places. There were multiple dustbins that were kept at places wherein you were not supposed to litter anywhere. In Nasik, there is a difference. We will also do, because Nasik soon, because we are being from Maharashtra, we are very proud to present Nasik ahead. The place and the ghats are very small. The privacy and the public people, coming out here will have a very narrow way to go to the rivers and all. So out there, what type of challenges we are facing is different. But here, the main interest of people participation is important. Awareness and making people aware, all the guests who are coming to your house, is the most important part which we need to do it. Corporate support is the only thing which one can do through all these type of projects. So I think the partnerships are important. A single person cannot do. The name of today's program itself is Maha Collab. So there has to be a collaboration within everyone to come out with excellent results and best of their capacities.
So I will disagree with you there at some level, but I will come back to that later in a moment from now. Indu, we have a lot of hope from you, because I do believe there are good officers in the government. It's so easy to criticize the government, but there are good officers everywhere, and more importantly, younger officers can change a lot because they come up with a certain element of fresh approach. We talk about Mumbai, but a larger part of Mumbai actually survives on people who travel from the neighboring municipalities. And you're governing one of them, you're leading one of them. So implementation always seems to be lacking, is what the perception is. How real is that perception, and where do you think trying to create something innovative, if you as a young officer who's been here at KDMC, if you were to try out something completely out of the hat, how easy would it be for you to do that? Or how difficult?
I think, Sesh, thank you so much for two aspects. One, for inviting me on such a distinguished panel, and secondly, for saying that you have some hopes from young officers and the government. Most definitely, as my previous speakers mentioned, I think one of the fundamental issues with sustainability is the way we understand it. I think for the implementation, it's very necessary that each one of us understands it and makes it a way of life. For implementation of a concept like sustainability, maybe we can take on stricter measures and try to penalize people so that they adopt a certain way. But that can always be done up to a certain extent. For example, say I am a young officer, but I'm also a young mother right now. I have 2 babies. If we see 5-6 years ago, Cerelac was something which was, every mother was giving to their kids because they felt that it's very safe. As on date, there is so much data in the past 3-4 years particularly that Cerelac is very, very bad and we should give fresh food. Why this is happening? The reason is that a certain level of awareness has been created and it has reached to each one of us. Social media has played a lot of role in this mass awareness. So I think that is one aspect where we want to promote sustainability so that it becomes a way of life for all of us. Definitely there are certain aspects in which where government is implementing certain things. There we need to mandatorily ensure that we are ensuring circularity in each of the aspects. So just to cite a small example, earlier discussion also there was some discussion on solid waste management. So that is one of the key areas where in a municipality we can ensure circularity. And we have tried to do that. We have been trying for waste segregation for a long time. Of course, Indore has gone a way long, higher in that aspect. The chief reason when I visited Indore was the pride they had that we segregate. We do 100% segregation. So I think the corporation was very instrumental in evoking that sentimental feeling and trying to sustain it through citizen participation as well as some penalizing action. So similarly, when I had joined, we have this peculiar issue that our plant was having compost, but there were no takers for the compost. So we tied it up with our women SHGs because I was in Mavi earlier, so the connect was already there and we had experimented this. So we gave it to the SHGs free of cost and we told that you sell it to the farmers and whatever money you earn out of it, you need not give it back to us. It's a capital subsidy sort of a thing that is given to you. And then next time when you come to us, so you purchase it from us. So it added some capital to them. It also gave them a new opportunity of business and it created a very good connect between the plant, compost and the farmers. So probably such innovative things we need to do when we are implementing. Second thing was that there are a lot of, we say mass generators, bulk generators of solid waste. The prime responsibility when any building permission is being given is upon them that they need to process their waste right on the site. It has to be a zero waste facility. But what happens few years down the lane, whatever solid waste management plant and sewage treatment plant they have made, it doesn't function that much and they are okay that whatever reimbursement we were to get of the tax because of that rebate, we are not taking that. But yes, there I feel we need to mandatorily ensure, and for example in KDMC we have taken a call this year that if any plant doesn't function, we'll not just be stopping your rebate, we'll also be penalizing you. So there are certain aspects in which government probably needs to take a stronger role for ensuring sustainability, but for majority part of it, as my previous speaker said, I think we need to change the consumer patterns, the consumption patterns that are there in the society, then only we'll be able to ensure sustainability in its true way. Thank you.
Yeah. Edu, you mentioned SOPs at one level and as I said, the danda at another level. मतलब बिना डंडे के मतलब we often see these examples कि मुंबई में हम अच्छे से बदमाशी से रहते हैं, वही लोग दुबई में जाके शरीफ हो जाते हैं, मतलब चाहे वो
I'll compare Mumbai and Delhi also.
दिल्ली
Yeah, Mumbai or Kalyan also. Like there is a very famous example that is said in Kalyan कि कल्याण में लोग हेलमेट नहीं पहनेंगे लेकिन मुंबई में एंटर करते ही वो लोग हेलमेट डाल देते हैं because of the fear.
तो कौन सा शहर ज़्यादा बेहतर है ये सोचना पड़ेगा. तो I'm going to come back to you on that and awareness part of it also. You know, we have one person here who is walking the talk, and I don't know how many of you know about Anand, but if you've heard of Suhana Masalas, I'm not going to be promoting your business here, but it's a fantastic business model. 3,000 spices a month, 3,000 tons of spices a month, correct me if I'm wrong, get distributed over 21 countries, Anand. But a way to a man's heart is through his stomach, but you're also walking the talk. You've kind of been part of an entire sustainability mission through the foundation that you've set up. How do you manage to merge the two, or do you manage to keep these things different? But innovation has been something that you've tried out time and again. Anand?
So structurally there are two different organizations. The Eco Factory Foundation is a Section 8 Companies Act. But it has emerged out of my, first of all, passion for environment, and I believe that we as a business is an agri-business. We will sustain only if agriculture sustains. So it's so much deeply rooted in my heart that if we can make sure the agriculture and farmers are strengthened well, environment is protected, then the businesses like ours or every one of us will get protected well. This is how the foundation journey has started 10 years back. We started largely, first of all, thinking and trying to make Suhana ecosystem waste free. So that was an agenda. Foundation was not even in mind. But with a lot of learning experiment, we created India's first waste management park. And then we said we need an SPV to offer these solutions to community at large. And then the foundation has taken place. So the birth of foundation happened. So now, whatever research we doing in foundation, we are using that research in Suhana ecosystem or all our 9 factories, or we are also empowering many other factories. So foundation essentially right now work on industrial, rural, urban and individual sustainability solutions in many ways. And we also have many mobile center of excellences which are training and creating awareness. Something in circularity also we adopted out of a lot of learning is now we make kanda lasun masala, जो काफी famous है India में, ambari kanda lasun masala. So I practically process more than 30 metric tons of onion and garlic every day. 30 and I have peels, which is a waste. So we first used to throw in a corporation waste. And this whole initiative, I am very open to tell that it has come out of my own guilt, the way I have been managing business earlier, that I don't want to manage a brand which is loved so much by customers in the way I am managing it right now. So can I manage it better? And we have started working on how we can recycle, upcycle, repurpose, reuse, reduce, all the 10 R's. And the 11th and the most important R to me is being responsible. So how I can be responsible for the environmental pollution or damage if I am creating, how I can protect it. And I just want to show you a small example because I think it's good to see materials. We are making these papers out of garlic peels and onion peels now. So these are 100% made with the factory waste which we are having, and these are used as table mats, wrapping paper. They are printable and these are made within our factory. We have created a factory like this. Now in every food industry, I'm not taking too much time, but every food industry or FMCG industry, there is so much issue of plastic. So we have a full roadmap on plastic recycling and upcycling also. This is also one example I just want to show. This by weight, this paver block have almost 40% plastic, multi-layered plastic in this. This is also made in-house at our own facility, and we are trying to make the villages also now around our factory go plastic free and create a value for that waste plastic, so people will start segregating, because they know if we segregate, we will create some wealth out of it. And I tell people that waste is a resource at wrong place. Only that place of waste is wrong, so it's not treated as a resource. This is a pyrolyzed charcoal which we make out of mirchi ki dandal and tamal patte ki dandal waste, all the factory waste we get, we pyrolize it, make it's a parallel process like a biochar, and this is a smokeless charcoal we make. So literally the waste value is 0 rupees a kilo, but the charcoal value is 80 rupees a kilo. And this is done with and for women empowerment and livelihood generation program. So these are the concepts we are doing.
Anand, thanks so much for such live examples that you've given. Couple of things that come out. One is awareness. That's one part, because largely the community we are talking about, other than Anand, you spoke about rural parts of Maharashtra, but we are still addressing urban populations. Now for Mumbai or the suburban Mumbai outskirts, larger part of population lives in non-urban pockets. Now for somebody living in a slum, expecting them to say, "Aap plastic का इस्तेमाल मत कीजिए," उनकी रोजी रोटी सब्जी वाले की हो या कहीं हो, उनसे to expect them to have a behavioral change, वो कहेंगे पहले मुझे खाना दीजिए, बाद में प्लास्टिक का सोचेंगे. So that's one part, awareness. Second is sustaining a good idea. Today you have resources, but to expect citizens to, I'm now going to pass on this box here. Dr. Modak, if you can open this box and share what's there in the box, and I'll tell you what I'm hinting at. Yeah, please pass this on one after the other, if you don't mind. So, I borrowed this idea from Anand just now, since he pulled out a few things out of his hat. So if you can display what it is. So these are pens out here. Okay, these are pens made out of chocolate wrappers, MLPs. Okay, that's part one. Karen, the box that you're holding, it's a box of ideas made out of recycled plastic, which we give it to municipal school children. So it's largely an initiative that Project Mumbai started off, where Dhanushi, you mentioned that ek se kya hoga, but we started off with one citizen at a time, and lakhs of citizens now in Mumbai segregate their waste, give away the plastic waste to Project Mumbai, and we recycle all this, making amenities. These pencil boxes, box of ideas, are given to school children of municipal schools. The pens are shared there. The paper blocks, Anand, that you mentioned, we are making gardens from walking tracks, fences, pots and benches which are in public spaces to create transparency. But coming back to, this is still a very urban idea. People sitting here, we can talk to them, yet so many of them here, I don't know how many of them segregate waste. I know we are in a circular conversation here, but the fact is, ghar jaane ke baad, I think Megha pointed that out. Yes, Devani, you are one, but I don't know how many other hands would go up. Megha pointed out that I would segregate waste, but the municipal truck comes in and it collects the whole thing and then move. So where does faith and transparency come in? Coming back to, how do you sustain a good idea, to keep it going and to scale it up? Who would like to go? Indu, would like to try that out? How do you scale a good idea to make it a habit without the use of danda? Or would a danda be mandatory for that?
I think the point that you said is rightly very important, that when we want people to follow a certain way, first is we have to create awareness, then we have to create a sustained effort and we have to supervise it, then that it should get sustained. Then only people will get into the habit of it. So again, in Kalyan, Dombivli also, in urban area overall it's difficult for a sustainable habit to be incorporated in the minds of people compared to the rural area, because people are not that cohesive. So they're very individualistic in an urban setup majorly. But a city that has a culture is very likely to adapt such habits faster. For example, in Kalyan and Dombivli, we see a significant difference in the levels of segregation in Dombivli and Kalyan. So Dombivli is far better. The people, they take pride in the fact that they adopt sustainable practices. This oversight through various NGOs in that entire community is very good. So the community has created a pressure apart from us. We are taking a stand that if we don't give it segregated, we won't collect it. So some people will just go somewhere and dump it. That happens more in Kalyan compared to Dombivli. In Dombivli, if they do, the groups of community, they oppose it more than us. So I think it's more of a mixed, habit or mixed effort that we have to take with the community and the government organizations. And somewhere after some years of my experience in government, I think this is one aspect which government cannot do together. It has to come through community participation, and it has to come through the efforts of certain organizations which are working there for passion, because this is not a very money-making exercise. Just by a government intervention, I'll probably be making them stick to the rule till a certain time, till they are under my supervision. As soon as my supervision is gone, they'll try to find a way and do whatever they wanted to do. So probably it has to be something driven by an inner motivation, which can only come through sustained efforts, and that too on both the fronts, by the government as well as the communities.
So, Dr. Modak, you work with governments also. How difficult is it to penetrate the system? Not always will you find young, high energy officers. So how easy is it to push a good innovative idea and let it run through a longer time?
Session, I'll answer this part and just quickly comment on the discussion on this. So one is, of course, which I have found which work for sustaining, is using gamification in cities. One of my favorite projects was I was asked by the government of Malaysia to transform Malacca. And the Chief Minister of Malacca, we created a gamification model. You behave good, you are rewarded. And that was something amazing, that pooled equivalent CSR fund was used to incentivize people to do good things in the city, be a good citizen. And that worked, and it stays. So that's one example that look at gamification, because this new generation is more interested in getting rewarded, for the good things. But the second point I want to really caution everybody here, that India is one of those countries which has extremely poor recycling standards or recycled product standards. The plastic which I'm using now, I'm not talking about your case, it does make use of flame retardants. And it's expensive to remove flame retardants from abundant plastic waste. If I put them back, for example, to making something like a children's toys, then I have a problem. I also have a problem of huge microplastic release over a period of time if the recycled product is not scientifically tested and certified. That's where we lack today. I mean, we have been pushing in the government that we badly need to move fast, and people are actively recycling without any standard. And I think this is the problem at this point of time. When I see huge risk, for just going for recycling for the recycling sake, it's going to just lodge the material for a while, but it's going to leakage, it's going to leak out back to the environment. I mean, you have to realize that neighboring country like Thailand has so maturely gone for recycled product standards. We only have done it here for recycled construction aggregates, as an example, which is a big mover. But BIS took 6 years for that. Something what we call reciprocal standards between countries should be the strategy. So that was my point of caution here, because we are talking about recycling. I'm not saying that this pen is dangerous to me, but the fact is, if you really also had a mark that this is adhering to a recycled product standard, won't it make a difference? Give me more confidence.
Yeah, interesting. Just asking Karen and Dhanashree, both of you, a separate question. One on sustainability. How would you create a innovative, sustainable idea? And how would you create an innovative awareness idea if you were given a platform and very little money?
I'll speak about awareness, but before that, one thing, everybody wants to go global. Every product should go out of our country and it should be sold. They should have good markets outside. Now, EU has a deal. They are very astringent specifically with the ESG norms. Like, until and unless you are complacent, your product is not accepted out there. So when it comes from up, it slowly down percolates. And here, one can take an idea from there, like, because they track the raw material from where exactly it is coming. And this system, if implemented in all the businesses, can really help to grow in a better way. Now I'll come to the point of awareness, like how the awareness could be sustainable, because we have done it multiple times, and this is the only way wherein you can create a place in the hearts of the people, because sustainability now is no choice. Sustainability is nothing like it's an ethical thing. No, it is compulsory, it is economically necessity for long-term businesses. Awareness is something which should start right from the very childhood. If the small kid imbibes whatever he wants to, or if he speaks in his house that no crackers, no inorganic holy, not doing and playing fires, the parents listen. So we should start right from the basic, from this, so that a generation is also inculcated good values, as well as the parents are taught compulsorily to act upon in the same way how the child wants to. Because chocolate wrapper, to put it in your pocket has taken at least 2 to 3 decades or centuries to understand that it should go in the pocket, it should not be thrown outside. So awareness is by doing. People, the leaders should see to it the way they are behaving. What type of public image they are creating and they are doing is very important, because people see and then they learn. So what we are behaving, I think we should create an impact on them, like how it should be. And the third and the most important thing, it should also come through the policies, because policy is very supportive when we are doing anything practically. I'll give you, when we are speaking about some certain examples specifically for the sustainability, and when I saw the pen, wonderful pen, even through ocean plastic waste, Adidas is making its shoes. How important it is. A big company doing something inspires the others to come up. So inspiration, examples, as well as creating a thought right into the mind, and it should start from the beginning, from the basic to the end. Whatever type of foundation you wanted to should go through the child. Thank you.
On behavior change, because we talk about innovation, why do we need a danda, or why do we need an incentive for behavior change? When we talk about other countries where but naturally you expect people to behave in a certain way, here we need certain sorts. If you were asked one innovative way to create behavior change and say, wow.
So I think a single word, if you want, is ownership. Okay? If you create an ownership of the ecosystem in which you are, you will automatically take the right behavioral actions to correct any imbalances that happen. The problem is that we don't have ownership. The problem is that we don't look at it from a systems lens. The problem is we don't even understand the relationship among all the different parts that are in that ecosystem. And therefore it is very easy to say it's not my problem. Ye koi aur kar. It's the story of somebody thinks that anybody can do this, but nobody does what everybody could have done, right? So it's literally, that's the story, right? So if you want to see behavior change happen, first you have to apply a systems lens. Understand who are all the different actors, who are all the different dots, who are all the different leverage points in that ecosystem. Understand the relationship between them, create, instead of having these islands of excellence, within what Anand is doing, what you are doing, what all of us are doing, look at where is the business case to make sure that this makes sense for everybody. But at the same time, ensure that the lens, the social lens and the environmental lens is very strongly in the same place. And again here, if you look at the conversation we have had today, it is almost the same thing. We are focusing on waste, right? But the fact is that circularity is far bigger than waste. Talk about byproducts in the circularity processes. Talk about your input optimization of circularity. We don't put enough time and effort into those aspects. So the waste keeps happening. Waste keeps piling, but nobody is talking about how that waste can be converted. I'll tell you, there is a person in Nagpur who says, you give me any waste in this world and I will pelletize it. Any waste. The very fact he is so confidently saying that means that we should not have any waste at all. You go to any, cement manufactured kiln, they are paying huge amount of money for fuel cost, but they could put anything into that kiln and it would burn. Right? And they have enough filtration to make sure it doesn't. So there's enough of opportunity if you look at it from an input lens, you look at it from a byproduct lens, but we are focused only on the waste lens, and that is why we're not completing that circularity to create solutions that make sense for all.
Karen, I like your word called ownership, the word that you've used. I'll come back to that quickly before I sum up. Anand, you are blessed with a lot of positives. You run a successful business means you have capital, you have age on your side, you have ideas on your side. So if you are now given this task of saying, come up with something completely mad, which people who are not even associated with you should say, मैं भी अपने घर पे करना चाहूँगा, because finally it needs to be percolated down to the individual. Why should the ones only working with you benefit? Can this idea be scaled up at a mass level? What would you want to try it on?
Yeah, so some beginning has happened last year. We had all these center of excellence or examples only at our end, in our factories or nearby. We realized a lot of people want to come, almost 21,000 people have visited outside Pune, 45 kilometers to see this waste management park. We realized that if we make this mobile, it is going to definitely reach out to a lot more people and have a larger impact altogether. And since then we created a concept called Shashwat Bharat Setu, which was launched by Honorable Gadkari ji. And then on it's moving, it's a mobile truck, which is a sustainability on wheels concept, going and reaching out to different places. And I'm going to come back to Mega and say we are going to launch it in Mumbai also, and we'll do some work together with this and Eco Factory Foundation, and we will bring it to Mumbai as well. And it has already gone to 3 different cities in Maharashtra, and this year we are taking it to 4 states with the regional languages to scale that up. Now that is one way I can do it, but other way to scale up also is an impactful digital awareness drive, because what we consume the most today is data, and if I can make a sensible content for all what we are saying in a very efficient way on a digital platform, then that is also going to help. My website of Eco Factory Foundation, if you log in and see, we have mapped more than 200 plus waste management companies or advocates on waste management or environment or biogas or solar, everything on that with their contact. So how I can empower my digital footprint to make more sustainable impact is also I am trying to see. And age is not on my side. I feel I am too old to understand, like she said, we don't know from what generation we are. But the Gen Zs are totally different. So I have all young team who is managing that kind of over there. I quickly want to show, if I can show one slide, because our warehouse has become now the first food or the first industrial warehouse gone net zero. And this is an example. We have zero waste discharge, zero water discharge, 100% run on renewable energy, and this is one of a case study we could create, and all my 9 factories are trying to follow this case study, and we are inspiring many other industries also to adopt this case study. And last but not the least, I formally want to invite you all, whenever you are in Pune, please give me a call and come. We will like to arrange a visit to our warehouse and Eco Factory Foundation. Thank you so much.
Thanks, I think before we are asked to shut up and leave this place, I'll quickly try to sum up that what's most important as I come back to Karen, what you said is a sense of ownership. An individual, what am I doing for my city? And somewhere I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about what we are doing at Project Mumbai. Somewhere we built in a sense of ownership. Kuch pal apne shehar ke liye. Can I give a bit of my time for the city? And while we are talking about circularity, it moves beyond just circularity in every walk of life. An unrelated example, just a few months ago, Project Mumbai involved about 36,000 people, citizens, people like you and me, to beautify railway stations of Bombay. Now each station was seen as a project in itself. People gave their time, some people donated paint, some people donated food, the railways came up with permissions, and so on. Corporates came up with money and employees, but it's a sense of ownership. Ye mera bhi station hai. As of now, if I was to walk on a station and see somebody spitting, I had no guts to tell him to not to spit. But now when I stop someone, the person, and pardon me for my language, would turn around and say, ये आप रोकने वाले कौन होते हो, आपके बाप का स्टेशन है क्या? Now I can say बाप का नहीं, मेरा है, क्योंकि मैंने पेंट किया है. And the second time when I see somebody is spoiling the station, I can say, listen, don't, because I have painted it and I will complain to them. Today we don't have that sense of ownership, we don't have that sense of duty, can we collectively, and this is a call to action, because every time we have a panel discussion, then the next panel comes in and before we know, the day is over. Can we create some call to action from each one of us here to say, I would like to give a bit of my time for the city, pick up any cause. It's sustainability, please pick that up. Be it inclusivity, do that, but do something for others, which in turn will mean, as we say, जब आप प्लेन में बैठते हैं, जैसे पहले अपना सीट बेल्ट पहनिए, फिर बाकियों का ख्याल रखिए. तो पहले आप अपने से शुरू कर सकते हैं. That would be a great way. Thank you very much everyone for your time.